Iranian nuclear deal was a signature foreign policy achievement for President Obama, but barely 3 years later, President Trump pulled the US out of the deal and reimposed sanctions on Iran, much to the dismay of European allies who were desperate to keep the agreement going, while pleasing Iran's regional enemies, Israel and Saudi Arabia. What now for Iran? Will they accept Trump's call to renegotiate? The signing of the 2015 nuclear deal was a major breakthrough for Iran's relations with the West. The agreement, for the most part, ended a decade of crippling sanctions and international isolation in exchange for a reduction in nuclear activities and full transparency. It meant Iran was able to return to global trade and investment, including the lucrative oil market. It also unlocked $100 billion in frozen assets overseas. But after an initial jump in economic growth, mainly through oil, prosperity has slowed. Rising inflation and unemployment sparked anti-government protests at the end of last year, as Iranians grew frustrated at the lack of growth promised after the deal. Whereas some hardliners accused the US of not holding up its side of the agreement. Opponents to the nuclear deal say it pumps more money into a secretive nuclear program or funds Iran's military and ballistic missile ambitions. This month, President Trump pulled out of the nuclear deal, arguing Iran is still working towards nuclear weapons.
After the sanctions were lifted, the dictatorship used its new funds to build nuclear-capable missiles, support terrorism, and cause havoc throughout the Middle East and beyond.
Supporters argue it deters Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Before President Trump's announcement, France's Emmanuel Macron appealed to the United States to stick with the deal.
We signed it, both the United States and France. That is why we cannot say we should get rid of it like that.
The European Union echoed his sentiments. Since 2016, 11 investigations by International Atomic Energy Agency have found a total compliance by Iran. Israel disagrees, claiming Iran has managed to evade even the most stringent of independent tests. And so does Trump, who's even threatening to sanction European companies who deal with Iran. So the United States has come full circle in its involvement in Iran's nuclear development. It provided its first tentative steps into the nuclear age decades ago when they were allies, and is now instrumental in controlling its progression. How will President Trump's decision impact its future?